Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the debut show of Vetted with Irving Fryar and Hollis Thomas. I'm Irving, and that's my man Hollis over there. What's up, big dog?
Chilling, man. How you feeling?
I'm good. You have a read for the people, right? You got something to tell them?
I got something to tell them already.
Off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat. It was like, get some huge news here. The schedule is coming out next week. Make sure you go to phillysportstrip.com and reserve your spot today. You'll get to watch the Birds game in the great cities and hang out with me too, because I'm going on all the trips and I'll be everywhere. Philly Sports Trips books at the best hotels and has the best birds available joining us like me. Interesting. Me. I'm coming for some good fun too. So book now and tell them Tank sent you.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Tell them Tank sent you.
Tell them Tank sent you. And mention AD2.
Mention
A2D radio.
A2D radio.
Mention that, and we're gonna have a good time. I'm excited to see the schedule. It comes out May the 11th. So that's one of the big things that we do in that Philly Sports Trips. We're pretty busy creating those trips.
Well, I'm excited about the season, period. Not just the schedule. We know what the schedule is going to be. We don't know who's going to play, where, when, and what the dates are. We're going to find that out on that Friday. But, man, I'm excited about what the Eagles are getting ready to do in particularly these next, I would say, 3-4 years. They got a window right now. They created a window for themselves for the next 3 or 4 years where they really have a legitimate opportunity to win several championships.
Yeah.
With the lineup they have, the players they've managed to keep, and the players they already have from last year, man. So we're going to talk about that. We got a lot of stuff to get to you today. The topic for today, the agree or disagree. Now, the Eagles 2023 draft was better than the 2022 draft. Do you agree? Come on, y'all. Or do you disagree? Throw it in the comments. Throw it with your name up there. Let us know. Do you agree or disagree that the Eagles 2023 draft was better than the Eagles 2022 draft? We're going to talk about right now. We got some stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 2023 draft. We're going to go down the list. All right, big dog. We're going to go down the list. Starting with number one. I mean, we're going to get to it. We got a lot for you today. I don't know if we're going to get to all of it, but we have some good topics for you. But we're going to start off talking about, because everybody's talking about it, all the radio shows, all the sports shows, they're all talking about the draft. What a great job Howie Roseman did, and how he's got gold in his pocket. He must, have secrets to people because he keeps getting all these phenomenal deals. He started off with Jalen Carter.
Whoa.
In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I didn't do a mock draft or anything like that. But in my opinion, though he was taken at number 9 in the first round, in my opinion, he's the best player in the draft.
Right.
The best player. And we know that he fell from grace, so to speak, or he fell from the number 1 pick in the first round because of some of the off-season or off-field issues that he had. But, man, because he's here, I believe, and it's not their responsibility, don't get me wrong, because he's here with the other Georgia players that some of which he played with, it's not their responsibility to monitor him. It's not their responsibility to look after him. But I believe because one of the reasons because he's here, he's going to do all right, is because he's with people he's familiar with, with guys that he's played with before. There's
a level of comfort
already before he even got here. He's a beast too, man. It's said that when you watch him on film, he's strong. He's got a strong leg, strong bottom. Double teams, they don't move him.
He busts them up.
He busts them up.
You know what the one thing about him was, last year they were looking at Jordan Davis on tape, and he kept popping off.
Right.
When I was watching Jordan last year, I was like, who the hell is number 88? I was like, there's a man. The one thing I think you kind of glazed over, though, when you talk about the media talking about Howie, the rest of the GMs in the NFL are getting pissed because he's getting so much praise. Well, if you do a quality job, you can get some praise as well.
Right.
I was really laughing because, as you know, I do a lot of research and a lot of reading. So I'm a nitpicker. I'm Petty James. I listen to all the crap.
Should I put Petty James down there underneath your picture? Take Hollis Thomas out, put Petty James there.
No, but it was like when they were one of the things that everybody was saying, they were getting a little miffed at all the attention and how he was getting for having the last two drafts. He's been the best GM in the NFL besides Joe Douglas.
Well, deservedly so. Let's go back to this time. Or no, before the draft last year. And the year before that, there wasn't much in terms of expectation from the fans of the Eagles. So going in before the draft last year, there wasn't a whole lot of expectations about what the Eagles were going to do as far as the fans were concerned, as far as, all the experts, sports experts either. There wasn't a whole lot of expectations. Then we get into the draft, Jordan Davis, and we make the acquisition with A.J. Brown.
Right.
And now the Eagles go, at that point, they go to a whole nother level. But the question is still, Jalen Hurts. Can Jalen Hurts make the leap that he needs to make the improvement that he needs to make in order for this team?
You're talking about at the time, right?
Yeah, at the time. At the time. Can he make that question was still out there?
It wasn't a question. It wasn't my question. I was defending him tooth and nail to every one of you Tom, Dick, and Harry's that was saying that he didn't have what it took to be on top. Morris doesn't like it, and I don't like it either.
But at that time, people were still questioning. He was the question mark. Right. Okay, now he got a team around him. Defense, how he made moves, brought Bradbury in, and different moves he made for defense. Now this team is looking real good after the draft, going into training camp. Still the question mark is Jalen. They get into the season and he shuts everybody up. He proves everybody wrong, justifiably so. And I think I'm glorifying that because the kid, he's a good kid.
Is it because he's one of your frat brothers?
Well, because he's one of my friends. But you know what? Jalen Hurts is the quintessential example of when you do things right, the rewards that come after that. Right. He's got that great big contract, $250 million, 179 guaranteed, I believe it is. He's the example of that. When you do things right, all the way back to when he was in college, high school, coached by his dad, Alabama.
Freshman of the year.
Huh?
Freshman of the year.
Yeah, but he gets benched in the national championship game. Yep. He could have grown bitter. He could have, responded negatively, but he just did the things that he needed to do to get better. Goes to Oklahoma, busted out, comes into the NFL. He's behind, Mr. Wentz.
He's behind Glass Joe.
Yeah, he's behind Wentz, so it doesn't look like he's going to get in. Wentz doesn't pan out. And now he has the opportunity and he takes advantage of the opportunity. Not only does that, but he takes his team to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Doesn't win. But nobody can say that the Eagles lost the Super Bowl because of him.
Right. It was a cheap holding call away from, seeing what he was seeing if he was ready to take that step to pure greatness.
And I really thought that something special was going to happen at the end. He just, even with the limited amount of time that he got the ball back, I thought he was going to do something crazy.
Dude,
I really did.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, if he pulls this off, it'll be epic. It'll be legendary.
Yeah.
But
But now, okay, so we did have expectations. I don't think it was a Super Bowl going into last year, but it was definitely NFC Championship or playoffs, deep into the playoffs. Now, with what's been done this year with the draft, with bringing Swift and I believe Swift improved an offense that was already at the top. At the top. Nobody can handle
look at the other kid that they brought in. If you look at some of the guys that they brought in free agency there on this, it's kind of like what he did last year. They're on 1-year proven deals. And they're coming, and they're not in the first year coming off of injury. They're in that year. You've been injured before where that first year you kind of pussyfooting around a little bit. You still feel the injury.
Right.
But then that next year you're back to respectability.
Yep.
We get a few guys in there off of injury like that. And then what he did in the draft, man. Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna get
to that,
but you made a good point there. I don't think people, and this is where there's value in guys like you and I doing a podcast because we're vetted. We're vetted.
You snuck that in there.
Yeah, I stuck it in there. We're vetted. So a guy that has an injury, particularly if you have to have surgery.
Right.
I've had a couple of surgeries during my career, but it takes a whole, like you said, a whole year before you can play and perform without feeling that injury. So a little bit of grace, a little bit of understanding should be is warranted when it comes to guys, particularly who are coming off surgery. That's what makes Brandon Graham so awesome.
Oh yeah,
for
him coming off like wow, and man. And he should have been the comeback player of the year.
He should have been.
There's no like, and I don't know if I'm not wrong. It's a year when we were playing, the comeback player of the year was usually somebody who came back from a horrific injury.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave it to the guy, the quarterback out of Seattle. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
he didn't come back from injury. He just came back from being an idiot. Man, come on.
So this year for me, and this is just me, I'm an Eagles fan, everybody, and understand this podcast vetted. Yeah, we're going to talk maybe a little bit about other sports, based on something crazy happening, based on, hot news, but we're going to be focused on the Eagles. This is an Eagles focused podcast.
Birds,
go Birds.
Go Birds.
So guys, Thomas, Aaron, Arnon, I see you, Thomas. So this year, my expectations for the Eagles before the season starts, and particularly now after the draft and free agency, is they've got to go and win the Super Bowl. They have to go. Anything less than that is bust. It's a disappointment. They were there. They made it there. They were just a few plays away last year. They have to, and I predict this right now too, and you can repurpose this video, this podcast, this portion of it, but you can go back and bring it up when this happens. It's going to be a Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl again in 2024.
Ooh.
I said it right now. Mark my word. Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. Watch me. Watch. So what are your thoughts about Jalen Carter?
But you know what? It was a few thoughts about Jalen Carter and why he fell out of grace. I think one of the main reasons the first reason was he got to Indianapolis to the combine and had to immediately leave due to a warrant for his arrest. But then after that, he only visited the teams that were in the top 10 because when he visited the Eagles said that they were not going to let him pass them, and they were number 10. It was like some team would have been willing to trade up for you. And then the other part too, why he fell to us was during his workout, the one that he set up at school. Mm-hmm. He was 10 pounds heavier than the two weeks ago, and he didn't finish the workout because due to being tired.
And I think some of that had to, and I don't know, this is just, me. Speculation. Yep. But he was dealing with all that stuff off the field. And that probably had something to do or interfered with his ability to work out in terms of, having to be certain places at a certain time. And it kind of took away from that. And then he was dealing with it probably, I'm sure, emotionally and psychologically. So I'm sure it took away, took away from his ability or his time in working out. We got to go to a commercial. All right.
Already?
Yeah, already. It's been 12 minutes.
It's been 12 minutes?
Yeah, it's been 12 minutes. But listen, we got, I see it in the chat, y'all. Come on. So we're going to take a break, y'all. We're going to go to this commercial real quick. Check it out.
Hey, Birds fans. Breaking news. The NFL schedule is being released on May 11th, and Philly Sports Trips is already taking deposits for what is sure to be an epic season ahead. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Not ready to fly? Then join us on a bus trip to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trips customers stay at the best hotels and meet NFL and MLB legends, so book today to ensure that you do not get shut out.
Okay, we're back. Oh, yeah. Ralph, I see you, Ralph. Thanks. Ralph is, he's not our in-studio assistant, but he's our assistant, and he's in the private chat. He says, time for a commercial. We got you, Ralph. Thank you. I'm waiting for the next one. 12 minutes.
Yeah, 12 minutes.
Hollis has the next one. Listen, for me, again, being able to get, it was amazing how things just fell into Howie's lap.
Right.
The draft, I guess it wasn't supposed to be or wasn't one of those highfalutin drafts where you got all these, potential Hall of Famers that are going to go in the first round and second round, all that. It wasn't that kind of draft. It was a average or even below average draft according to the experts. I'm not one of the experts. I just know about football.
Those experts are they're worth as much about much as Dental Foster and the Willie Nelson concert.
Well, what amazes me is people who are experts are people who have never played the sport before. That doesn't match to me.
Yeah, most of them have never had an NFL job. Imagine that.
So they're experts. Yeah,
it's like the funniest thing was and this is due to I know we talk about our draft. How do we let Nolan Smith fall to us at 30? He was projected by the experts to be a top 10 pick, which he's a top 10 talent.
Yes.
But the way things go is it's all based off what people need. In watching the draft, I was actually in Kansas City. I felt like it was a few reaches. I think Green Bay reached for a defensive end who I felt like would have been in the third or fourth round out of Iowa. And I was actually, the funniest thing was I was sitting next to a guy out of Iowa. He was like, "Oh yeah, he's not that good." And I was like, "Yeah, he would have been there." But
was he saying that out of jealousy, or was he saying?
No. It was just a guy who's from Iowa, but he's an Eagles fan.
Okay.
But he watched at college. He watches the Iowa Hawkeyes. Right. So he was like the guy. He tries hard, but in the NFL, all they're going to do is hold him. And it's like, because when you run into an offensive lineman, that's a carte blanche and an invitation to grab hold of you and act like you're at Christmas time. But if you look at what we did, we went and got a couple of other guys later in the draft. We went and got the kid who I love in this draft was the offensive guard out of Alabama, Tyler
Steen. Yep.
Yeah. Did you see him playing tackle?
He can play guard too.
I know he played guard too, but did you see him playing tackle as well?
He's a big boy, man.
But his moves were so fluent in his hip bend, dude.
Yes,
it was so sweet. But then,
and he's playing, and again, guys like that. He comes from Alabama, so guys like that are playing against NFL talent or potential NFL talent. Top-notch competition over there in the SEC.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. I thought you were going that he's a Stoutland guy. The Stoutland guy. No,
I wasn't going there.
You're not going to Stoutland University? The offensive line coach, one of the best offensive line coaches I know.
Well, yeah, but that's not where I was going with it. And he's a tough guy, man. He's got his father was a Marine. His grandfather was a Marine. Matter of fact, his grandfather got a Medal of Honor because his grandfather in Vietnam jumped on a grenade to save his comrades.
Oh God.
Yeah, so he's got that in his blood, man. He's got team in his blood. He's got ferociousness, fearlessness, courage in his blood.
So he's gonna lay it on the line for the QB. That's all we need.
He's gonna lay it on the line. This cat is hard as nails. But I was gonna say earlier about the draft. I think you took it a little bit different.
Sorry too.
No, it's okay. That's what we do, man. Big dog, you my dog, man. This is us. Okay. This is what we do. Okay. If we go off, we just come back. Okay. But it's amazing to me, or I thought it was very mature of and because he was the GM and then he got let go and then he came back and was a better GM. It just shows his maturity, how he laid back and allowed the draft to come to him. You know, you got the quarterbacks that went early in the draft, and there was a couple of linebackers. Then all of a sudden, Jalen Carter's still available. So he trades up one and gets Jalen, the best player in the draft. And then he gets Nolan at 30, who's, for whatever reason, nobody drafted. Do you know what that has done?
Oh, man.
People were talking about those that left, Kazir White, Hargrave. We got people who left, and there's holes in the defense, and we need some depth at tackle. We talked about Steen. We need some depth on the offensive line, but he filled those holes. I mean, can you imagine what the NASCAR package? You guys call it NASCAR, right?
What's that? Well, they call it NASCAR, but yeah, NASCAR, because I was a big nickel, because a lot of teams, when you put the NASCAR in there, they started to run lead draws, draw week, and the NASCAR means it's a bunch of ends, right? But I know where you're going with it, because you look at Hassan Reddick, and then you put Nolan Smith on the other side. But
Nolan Smith is Hassan Reddick-ish.
Yeah, but when you look at it also, it gives, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later, gives him, because he's in that, because we were talking about Vic Fangio. He's a disciple of Vic Fangio. Right. And that thing is disguising, it's pressure, but disguising. That's what when you remember Emmett Thomas,
right?
Yeah,
right.
he was a culprit. They were all culprits of that, of disguising. Sometimes you want to sit in the house, but you want to disguise and trick. You really want to trick the offensive line and the quarterback into thinking there's more people coming than they are, so they'll throw a pick to you.
Okay.
In bringing that guy and bringing Nolan Smith here and having Hassan Reddick on the other side. You don't know which side the fuck is coming from.
Well, you don't. Okay, you got you got Sweat, you got Hassan, you got okay. You take Hassan and put him on one side. You got Nolan on the other side. Then you got Jordan Davis in the middle, and you got Jalen Carter in the middle.
But you still got Fletcher Cox and
you still got Fletcher Cox and Brandon. What are you going to do? Man,
and they added a dude in the 7th round.
Yes,
the kid out of Texas.
Yep,
I love the way he plays. He plays with that undying motor. And then you can't forget the other guys that we had there. The young kid that they were. I know one of the guys were pissed that we took him in the 3rd round. Milton, yes. Milton is he's done pretty good for himself.
So, and we're gonna on our list of things to talk about was to talk about Desai and what he's going to do defensively. We're not ever going to get to that today. we're going to hold that for next week. Yeah. But we'll get to that next week because we want to finish talking about the draft and there's a couple other things you wanted to hit us with. But man, that's why I'm so excited. And everybody who is an Eagles fan, unless you're blind and you just haven't seen what's going on. And I agree that the 2023 draft was better than the 2022 draft. What about you?
Yeah.
You agree?
I kind of disagree.
Oh man. Okay. This is why we have this show. Go. I want to hear why you disagree.
Only because we got AJ Brown and then Jordan Davis. I was like, okay, it's like we totally fleeced the Titans, and they thought Traylon Burks was going to be the man, and they didn't want to pay AJ.
Okay,
we get a true number 1 for the first time since T.O. and Mike Quick.
But did the addition did the addition of Jordan Davis and AJ Brown improve this team more than the addition of Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and Swift?
Swift, you mean? Well, you got to be
running back from Detroit.
Oh yeah, you got a point there.
Come on, he's an improvement from Miles Davis. Yeah. If you ask me, did you see the game that we played? I know you watched it.
Miles Sanders.
Did I say Miles Davis?
Yeah.
Oh, Miles Sanders. I'm sorry. Miles Sanders. I'm thinking music.
Yeah.
Miles Davis. Well, y'all know Miles Davis. But listen, did you see what he did? He ran for 140 plus yards against us in that first game against Detroit last year.
Yeah.
He had me looking like, who is that cat? Where did he come from?
He's from Philly.
He actually helped us understand that we weren't going to be able to stop the run last year. That was the beginning of our trouble stopping the run last year.
Well, it was because of the way he was setting things up, the way the defense coordinator was setting things up.
Right.
When you're gonna only leave 7 in the box, you have to cut up the run.
Right.
It's like, and that's one of Vic Fangio's thing, and Emmett Thomas, and any coach that's a good coach. If you're gonna leave extra hands out in coverage, you have to cut up the run. And I know people are saying, what is cut up the run? Cut up the run means that you run stunts up front because you don't have enough guys for every gap. So you negate some gaps by stunning the big guys up front. And not only does it help out the big guys because you're not stagnant and in one spot the whole time, and the offense knows exactly where you're going to be. Mm-hmm. It gives you something to do. Right. And so it gives you something to set up the guy. And then you can set him up on pass rush moves and everything. So, but just being in the same place every time, it gives the offense the advantage.
Right. You want to change things up, give them a different look pre-snap. And again, that's Fangio's thing. Pre-snap, post-snap. Disguises. That's what he does, whether it's in the defensive backfield or whether it's up there in the front with the line. But there's a couple of guys. I mean, for Jordan Davis, we don't know what Jordan Davis is going to do this year.
Right. Because he did have that injury early.
Yeah, but he had an injury early. One of the things I do know, and you know this too, right. There's always the biggest jump in terms of improvement is always from the rookie year to the sophomore year in the pros. First year to second year, guys make the biggest jump in terms of improvement.
Okay.
So prayerfully, and I was hurt like that my rookie year as well, and people were saying negative things about me being a first-round draft choice. I got hurt and missed half the season. I had 2 different injuries. I missed half the season, and I made a big jump. Went to the Pro Bowl my second year. So
nice.
Prayerfully, that's what we're going to see out of Jordan Davis this year. But we haven't even mentioned the Kobe Dean.
I know.
We haven't even mentioned his name.
Did you see that when he got in there?
Yeah,
he played 50 plays. I think he made 2 or 3 tackles.
Yeah, when he played,
and then he lowered the dynamite on another guard. It's like, and I was because the days of Alex Singleton, even though he was a try-hard guy, but I was like, I'm cool with you trying hard, but don't tell me you leading the team in tackles, and most of them are downfield, 70 yards downfield.
That's too late.
It's too damn.
He's jumping on the pile.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see it. It's playing devil's advocate because there's somebody, Queen, out in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles have been named in a little bit of trade because I don't think he's happy in Baltimore. He's a first-round pick, and I think they gave Roquan Smith $100 million. So he's going to be available for trade because they're not going. And then they drafted somebody in the 3rd round. So our linebacker, because behind the Kobe Dean and what we already have, you really have nothing spectacular,
right?
So
there's a big drop off.
There's a big drop off. So I've heard rumors that we were inquiring about Queen out of Baltimore, which will be a tremendous addition to our young linebacking core. But with Nicole, we hadn't talked about the Kobe Dean. Well, it's like we hadn't even talked about Blankenship.
No, and Blankenship. We got a safety in the draft, but we haven't talked about Blankenship.
No.
And to me, when he did get the opportunity to play, when Epps went down last year and Blankenship came in, man, he was impressive to me.
Yeah.
He was aggressive, he's tough.
Better than Kevon Wallace.
Here's what I like about cats like that, and there's a couple of guys in the draft that have the same, looking at film on them, just
right.
A little bit of film they allow us to look at on the internet. He played with bad intentions.
That's what you're supposed to play.
Well, I know that's how you're supposed to play. People don't necessarily understand that. When we kind of say that, you know what I'm talking about.
It's I understand. Can't tell you though.
Yeah, and it's not a negative thing to play with bad intentions. It's just you're aggressive and you're out there going 100%, and the other team better pay attention to where you are, and they know you're out there because of the impression that you're making, because of the impact that you're having on the game. And Blankenship is like that, man. Yeah. I just like that guy. Yeah. And he plays with confidence, which you like. He knows where the ball is. He knows how to play the ball in the air. He's good, man. And
he takes great angles on tackling.
Yes.
Unlike Kevon Wallace. He's another safety that we
drafted.
Another safety. Yeah, he how sometimes when you draft somebody, and some people, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. They were talking about maybe he's out of Clemson, maybe he's the next dog. Stop it. No, there's only one dog. Listen, you got another read, bro. You got another commercial. Yeah,
take
really?
Your time. Yeah.
Okay, you want to take your time?
Yeah, take your time.
Okay, this is for the Birds fan out there. Hollis Thomas here with some more huge news. The schedule's coming out next week, so make sure that you go to phillysportstrip.com and reserve your spot today. You'll get to watch the Birds game in a great city and hang out with me too. Philly Sports Trip books at the best hotels and has the best birds available to join us, like myself. You know I'm coming to have a tremendous, awesome, fun time. Book now and tell them Tank sent you. Oh yeah, A2D. Tell them you heard it on A2D radio.
Well, you doing good, man. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Don't worry, we'll get you some reads.
I don't want any reads, so I'll mess them up. I'll mess them. So we talked briefly about Jalen Carter. Cool. We talked about Nolan Smith, who both were in the first round, pick 9 and pick 30.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd round, we briefly talked about Tyler Steen. He was the 65th pick in the 3rd round. And then with the, I didn't have to, in the 3rd, also in the 3rd round, I don't know what pick it was, but 66 was Brown.
Right back. Sidney Brown.
You know what?
He's got a twin brother.
Chase? Yeah, Chase.
Yeah, Chase
Brown. With the Bengals. He got drafted in the 5th round with the Bengals.
Okay, yeah. You heard about this story, right?
What's the story? Tell me the story.
A little bit of the background. They were from Canada,
Yep.
So their mom was thinking hockey at first,
right?
But then she took her to play a little football. They were having a good time. They started playing football and stuff, but their mom got gravely ill,
right?
And so she, ended up having to sell pretty much everything. And then they had a sister. So they end up taking care of their sister and stuff. And then their mom found out that in Florida, there's a school for boys that they will be able to get recognized to get into college to help them out. And she filled out the application for them and sent them to Florida. And then they got picked up by their line now, and they're here. One of them's here now. It's a pretty cool story.
That's great.
That's kind of through all the chase, but it was a touching story, and it was a bit of a tearjerker. So,
well, that's just a testament to life in itself and the struggles that all of us have. Y'all, and this might be off a little bit.
Okay.
It's not football. This is life. I'm getting ready to go.
Okay.
We could do this part, the preacher and the player. When we start that segment of our show, the preacher and the player, y'all look forward to that. We're going to have a segment in the future. We're going to start a segment in the show called the preacher, which is me, and the player. I'm not. Some would say the preachers are players.
You're a doctor, though, right?
Yeah, but we'll do the preacher.
Yeah,
it sounds better.
Yeah,
it works better. And then we'll pick a subject, and then I'll give the opinion of the preacher, the insight or the side of the preacher in terms of the opinion, and then obviously we'll hear from the player.
I give you what is known as the truth.
All right. So Sidney, man, when I watch him, first of all, he was the Eagles have red star players on the board.
Okay.
Which it's a red star next to the player's name on their big board in the war room, draft room. And that's a player if he's available, they're going to draft. They want to draft. They believe he'll fit well with the team, great character, leadership skills, all that kind of stuff. And he was one of the red star players for the Eagles, even though they drafted him in the third round. They thought he would be gone before then. And this cat's he's 211 pounds, 59 tackles last year, 6 interceptions, which was second in the nation.
Yep.
He's physical. He's got speed. He plays the ball well. So saw a little bit of film on him. He also plays with bad intentions, and he's able to cover the tight end. He does a good job covering the tight end.
That's what I liked about him.
At the combines, watch this. Out of the safeties and their testings in the combine, he was 4th in the 40. He ran a 4.47 40. He was 2nd in bench presses with the safeties. I think he had 32 bench presses.
Nice.
And then he was 2nd in the broad jump out of the safeties, and he was 3rd in vertical leap.
What was his vertical leap?
I don't know what it was. I didn't put it down, but he was 3rd.
Mine was 30, so.
I think his might have been higher than that.
Well, it was 350. So.
But this cat, I would not be surprised watching the little bit and obviously all of these cats coming into the league, have room for improvement. All of them. There's room for improvement. But where he is right now, before halfway in the season, he's going to be starting at safety. He has the ability to do that, man. He's all over the ball. He's all over in coverage. He covers he covers like a corner would cover. Right. He takes the angles that he takes, the way he's able to cut off the ball, the angle he takes to the ball, how he plays the ball in the air, how he plays the ball when the ball reaches the hands of the receivers, whether it's the tight end or whether it's a wide receiver split out wide. He's an impact player. And I believe this guy, again, makes the defense better. Yeah. He brings a better safety. He brings a better player at the position of safety for the Eagles.
He gives them more latitude to do different things.
Exactly.
I'm not going to call him Dawkins or anything, but
no, he's not Dawkins.
But he gives them the same latitude. Like when Dawg was when I played with Dawg, he gave us the latitude to bring the safety down and have a man cover when everybody else was blitzing.
Right.
With Dawkins' speed and stuff and his coverage ability, that's what he gave us the ability to do. And then I think the kid knows how to blitz as well. So he's not Dawkins, but he get when I describe him, he kind of puts you in that mindset of making the defense more versatile. Right. It's like, so you don't know who's coming. So it's like a lot of people think when I say blitz, I'm thinking blitz everybody. No, I'm thinking sometimes a zone trap is why it's called a zone trap? It's because you're still rushing 4, but you don't know which 4 that are rushing. Right. And so it's like you run guys into a zone. That's why I'm saying the guys like the Roland Smiths who could drop into coverage, like the Hassan Reddicks, who you don't want to drop in coverage, but you send them anyway.
Yeah, you don't want Hassan to drop.
But you get the guys like because I've seen Jalen Carter with a you kick Jalen Carter to out to end, and you can make him like push, knock the running back off or chip the running back, because normally the running back is the outlet because everybody else is covered up one-on-one, and the stack is coming.
unless I mean, a lot of offenses, particularly these days, now that they're pass happy and they pass the ball first before anything else, their blitz routes built in. You know,
we want that's what the zone trap does.
Right.
We want you to think that we're blitzing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's why
it's and you drop and you cut off one of those blitz routes for sure.
It's like because you often hear like I don't even know what the hell Black 200 Jet Dragon meant. but
you knew it was a blitz audible.
I knew it was a blitz audible, and I knew it was a quick slant, and I knew to get one of my mitts up in the air, and I would block passes. But he gives us the latitude to do that. It's like if you look at it as well, I'm interested to see what Kylie does. Kylie Ringo. Okay,
well, yeah,
because he was touted to be like a late first round, second round pick, and we were able to garner him in the fourth round.
You know, he's going to be under the tutelage of Bradbury and Slay. He's not coming in and starting, but he's surely going to be in the dime package for sure.
But it also gives us depth though as well.
Right.
It's like a lot of times. I don't know if you paid it. I know you paid attention last year, but when Bradbury or Slay went out, I think me and the rest of the fans were like
holding the breath.
Oh hell,
holding up breath.
Here we go. We had no young corners that had stepped up to show us anything different. The Josiah Scotts, you still see third and 20. Well, was third and 27 or third and 31. You still see Darius Slay looking over him like, dude, you're playing safety. You're supposed to be over the top help. Why are you looking in the backfield? So I think it makes good for adding depth at the cornerback position, just in the secondary in general.
Well, I think Ringo was again another steal of Howie Roseman. Ringo is a great talent, man. When I watched him a little bit today on film. First of all, he runs a 4.36 40. Yeah. That's so he can run. He can run with the fastest receivers. He can run with out there at corner. He's 6'2". 207 pounds. He's got a lot of upside to him, man. He was the state in high school, the state champion in the 100 and 200 meters coming out of high school.
Now, shout out to my boy Mal from I do the 4th and John. Shout out to Mal. Mal was scared of Kylie Ringo because he's so raw. And he's scared of one of the guys in the NFL who's a route technician, putting them in the mixer. And it was like, and he was correct not to take him really high, but to get him where we got him and to be able to see what he could do and to tutor him. I'm cool with where we got him at. But we had this conversation, and shout out to Mal. He was like, because I know he's probably watching, but he was like one of the guys who. And then I went back and watched what he was talking about, and I was saying sometimes when in college when he got with those guys that were real, route technicians, they kind of put him in the mixture a little bit.
Yeah. He is vulnerable to double moves.
Yeah,
he's vulnerable, Ringo, to the quarterback pump.
Yeah,
he can be too aggressive at times. So that's something that's going to have to be worked on. It's something that's going to have to be tampered a little bit and brought under control. But man, this cat. I mean, he was offered more than 30 scholarships coming out of high school. Yeah. I mean, the Ohio States and all those big schools, man, Alabama, all of them offered him scholarships, and he went to Georgia. So this cat he reminds me, when I watch him on film, he reminds me of a guy, and people may not remember him, but Raymond Claiborne. He was an all-pro corner when I got into the league with the New England Patriots. Raymond was just like him, 6'2", could run just as fast as I could run, 4.3 speed, long arms. And he was a problem, man. He was a problem getting off the line of scrimmage. He was a problem down the field. He was a problem because I couldn't run away from him. And that's the way Ringo is. Yeah. He's the same way. He just needs to be coached up a little bit. But man, when you bring him in and you place him in there with Bradbury, and again, man, this team, Howie Roseman has done a phenomenal job. Watch how this talent plays out over the year. Watch out, even if Slay goes down or Bradbury goes down and Ringo has to go in, he's going to go in with confidence because he's a confident player, and he's going to do a good job. Is he going to get some penalties? Yes, he's going to get some penalties because
he can't keep his hands to himself.
that's how he plays.
I would rather him get a 5-yard legal contact than give up the
Listen, some penalties you have to get.
Yeah, that's why. Like, I know you remember Al Harris.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Do I remember Al Harris? Al's mad at me.
Why? What'd you do?
I don't know if you were still with the Eagles or not. Remember when I went to Washington?
Yeah, I was here.
Okay. When I was at Washington, we came during this particular season. We came to Philly, and I got hurt. Remember, they carted me out in the ambulance. I mean, my spinal cord, I got hit, or I got in a bad position. My spinal cord started spasming. Right. I got to the sidelines, but man, I couldn't move when I got there. So they took me out. So I needed to get payback. So I think I missed a couple of games, and then maybe 4 or 5 games after that, you guys came down to us at Washington, remember?
Right.
And then there was a fumble or something like that, or interception. Al Harris got it.
Oh God!
And I chased him all the way, probably 70 yards down the field, and right before he went to the end zone, I smacked him in the ribs. He fumbled the ball, and we recovered it. So he's mad at me, and I actually took it easy on him, but I smacked him. I got him real good. I smacked him real good, right up underneath the ball. The ball fell out, and we recovered the ball because we were chasing him, but it was all the way down the field after he recovered the fumble interception. And he's been mad at me ever since that day. He's coaching now somewhere. Isn't he?
He's with Dallas.
He's with Dallas.
Yeah,
okay.
He was with Kansas City for a long time, and then he went to Dallas. But the funny thing is I remember that because he was mad at us on the bus for laughing at him.
I think Troy Vincent told him that Troy called me. Troy said, you took it easy on him because Troy seen me, play before. He played with me. Well, and I did take it easy, but I had to get somebody back. Somebody had to pay for me getting hurt.
The funniest thing though was we were laughing at him on the bus, me and Hugh, and he's like, y'all be laughing at the wrong thing. I was like, yeah, no. That was the right thing to laugh at.
Oh, so you remember that here, huh?
I remember it because it was like, damn, came out of nowhere.
I chased him all the way down the field, bro. He started cutting back, and when he cut back, he cut back right into it. Wow.
Because he had a swollen eye afterwards.
Yeah.
He was swollen. He was full up something nasty. That's why he was like, y'all laughed at the wrong damn thing. I was like, no.
His eye got swollen up?
Because if you go back and you watch the film, he was kind of what we call hot dog in the high.
He was hot dogging, yeah. He was hot dogging, and they served him right.
Yeah, so that was like why we.
I didn't think I caught him that high though. I tried to get him up underneath his arms,
You got him up underneath something.
But back to Ringo before we got to go to commercial, bro. This is your read. Go ahead.
Is my read again?
Yeah. No. We got to come. No, this is not your read. You read your second one, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you read your second one. All right, we're going to commercial. Ralphie,
Hey, Birds fans. Breaking news. The NFL schedule is being released on May 11th, and Philly Sports Trips is already taking deposits for what is sure to be an epic season ahead. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Not ready to fly? Then join us on a bus trip to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trips customers stay at the best hotels and meet NFL and MLB legends, so book today to ensure that you do not get shut out.
We're back. We're just having fun, y'all.
Yeah, having a good time.
Yeah, this is our debut show of Vetted with Irving, Fryar, and Hollis Thomas. I'm Irving. That's Hollis, my man over there. Big dog, in the house. So I was just trying to, I wanted to express how Ringo watching film of him reminded me of Raymond Claiborne when I played with Raymond, and Ringo's going to be a good player. So we move on to the sixth round, and Tanner McKee.
Yeah.
Out of Stanford.
Extremely one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the draft.
Is he really?
Yeah, he just did what it's kind of like this. He did what they asked him to do, and you kind of want a young backup like that.
Okay, but I watched him. I mean, he's a big guy. He's your prototypical type quarterback, 6'6". He's 230 pounds, but he can move a little bit.
I was to say he's slightly athletic. So.
Yeah, he can move a little bit.
He's not a statue. Yeah.
So it ought to present, if need be, if that's the position he ends up being in, the backup. Although we've got a couple.
We got Marcus Mariota.
I've never been too.
I've never been that. Well, I was high on him when we had Chip Kelly, and then once he got into the NFL and really done nothing,
I've never been a fan of Mariota.
Really? Oh.
No, never.
Okay.
Never.
Well, I stand corrected. I was
you have your opinion.
No, I was wrong about him because I thought he was better than what he was.
No, I'm just anyway. McKee is 6'6", 230 pounds. In 2022, last season, threw for 2,947 yards, 13 TDs, 6 INTs, 62% completion rate, which isn't great.
Right, that is great. But the one thing that we have to take into account is if he does have to play, you know that they're going to run the ball.
Well,
and I think he's good enough to make those the passes that he need to pass.
Well, yeah,
because it was like we didn't even mention Rashard Penny.
Right.
And we got Swift and Penny. Right. But we also still got Gainwell.
And
Scott.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like we have a running back. We have a running back committee that if anything happens, that it should be cool.
And they did, and he mentioned it. McKee mentioned it, how they ran RPOs at Stanford with David Shaw. David Shaw was here when I was here, when we were here.
Yeah, Dave Shaw. Yeah.
He was like, how you become a head coach, man? He was just a.
No, well, when he left here, I think he became an offensive coordinator.
Is that he did? Wow, man, because he didn't do much when we were here.
But yeah, because it was kind of funny because I kind of follow like most of the people that was there. Like Sean Payton was here. He was like the quarterback assistant, assistant coach.
Becomes the head coach.
Yeah. well, he became the the play caller with the Giants, and then he was going to take the Oakland job, but then he didn't, and then he was in with the Cowboys with Bill Parcells was there.
Okay.
And then after he didn't take the Raiders job, he took the Saints job. I mean, actually, that's where he traded for me. Because Joe Vitt is with him. You remember Joe Vitt?
Yeah, I remember Joe Vitt.
Joe Vitt and him out in Denver.
Okay. Yeah. But I think he'll remain on the team.
Right.
He'll probably be the third quarterback. But I think he has a lot of upside, and I think he can work himself into that position as the backup behind Jalen. And if need be, at that time, he can come in and sustain until Jalen comes back in.
Cleanup work.
Yeah.
It's like the thing is like we got Mariota here. We only signed him to a 1-year deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just pretty much just in case just in case what happened this past season with Jalen, where we kept him up because we pretty much had our playoff position. We just needed to win one and blah blah blah. So,
but and this is the case in a lot of situations in different teams. There's a major drop off at the position of quarterback from the starter to the backup.
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of problems for teams during the season because most quarterbacks, or most players, I should say, most players, I know this, very rarely, particularly these days, I don't know why, they hardly ever play every game.
Right.
At some point they get hurt where they're going to miss a game.
Yeah. Well, see, that's
so it's important, particularly if you're in the running for the playoffs, or if you're playing and you've got to win this particular game so you can get in the playoffs, or for your record, you got to have a great or decent, at least backup quarterback that can come in and at the least, the minimum, sustain and not lose the game for you, but maintain so you can have the team win the game for you. Not go in and win the game, but at least don't screw it up so much so that, that you Minshew.
Don't Tony Banks it up.
Minshew.
Yeah, don't Tony Banks it up. Kind of Trent Dilfer it.
Yeah. How he won a Super Bowl, I do not know.
Well, he had the number one defense.
Yeah, I know he had a great defense. Defense wins championships.
If you pay attention to that whole ordeal, when they had Tony Banks in there, you had a 2,000-yard rusher behind Tony Banks. Right. And you're throwing 40 to 50 times a game. What the hell are you doing?
Not with Tony Banks. I'm not throwing
it. But now, if you keep Tony Banks down to 25 passes, he would have got you there, but then they went to Trent Dilfer to just turn around and hand the ball off. He's a manager. That's it.
I want to say this to everybody who's watching right now. I don't claim to be an expert. I mean, I did play 17 years in the NFL. So I probably I know a little bit about football.
Makes you more than a novice.
I do know a little bit about football, but I heard an expert, one of the people that we in Philadelphia tout to be one of the best analysts, sports analysts ever in this area. And I heard him on a show last week say that McKee can't move. I don't know what. No, he said this. That's why I went to go try to find some type of video on him. He can't move. I don't know why the Eagles drafted him. He can't move. I don't know what they're going to do if they have to put him in. He can't move. He did say he can throw the ball, but he's unable to run this type of offense. He can't do RPOs, so on and so forth. So I went and watched McKee. Y'all don't. I say that to say this. Don't. Find out for yourself. Yeah. Even what we're saying right now, do a little bit of research for yourself. Everything is on YouTube. Everything is on the internet. You can watch film yourself of these guys, and you can go see what we're saying, Hollis and I, that this guy can not only throw the ball, but he can move and throw the ball. He can run RPOs. He can throw the ball off balance. He can throw the ball from different angles with good velocity. He has great arm strength. And he is a good choice for the Eagles to groom as a backup quarterback, whether it's the second quarterback or whether it's the third quarterback. Right. He'll be an asset to this team, if nothing else, to be, to run the scout team.
Yeah, scout team honors. The funny thing, it's funny that you say that because they often have those experts saying that stuff. And like the kid, I don't know if you remember Mikael Bridges when he was drafted by us, the guy was tearing him down and everything he was saying, the film was showing opposite. He can't get his own shot. He was getting his own shot. He can't do this. He was doing this. I was like, oh God, somebody should tell him to watch film. Wow.
Well, listen, we didn't get to the 7th rounder, but I'm not going to get to that. Okay. We want to do this because we want to give every show. We want to take some time for Hollis's history, and you see it on the ticker. We do intend to have that as a part of our show, and we want to give Hollis his time so he can go into the history of Cinco de Mayo. Just a
little history.
Yeah, so we're going to give Hollis the screen. And let's go with Hollis' history.
Yeah, today is May the 5th, 2023. It's the 125th day of the year. We only have 240 of these puppies left. Today is Cinco de Mayo. It's also Space Day. It's also Hoagie Day. These are national holidays. Also National Oyster Day. And it's National School Lunch Hero and Totally Chipotle Day. Kind of funny how the Chipotle goes in with Cinco de Mayo. But I had a few events that happened in 1970. The very first African American military pilot. He gained his pilot's license in France and became part of the French Air Service. In 1921, Chanel No. 5 came out.
Chanel 25.
Chanel No. 5.
Wow.
It came out on the 5th. In 1961, Alan Shepard, he becomes the first American in space. Just in space, not on the moon, just in space on Freedom 7. I got a couple of quick birthdays here. We have my boy Musa Muhammad, played with me in Carolina, 1973.
Musi.
Yeah, 1982. Randall Gay, he played with me in New Orleans. I used to call him Al Green. 1983.
I hope he doesn't see this.
Henry Cavill, who played Superman. 1985, the Sixers are playing tonight, and it's PJ Tucker's birthday. PJ Tucker, yes. 1988, Adele, 1989. We have Chris Brown, and one of my teammates from 1983, Scott Ware. He's played DB here. That's all I have for you on this day. The Cinco de Mayo history, and it's also Revenge of the Fifth. A lot of people, everybody, it's Star Wars. It was, yesterday was May the 4th be with you. Today is Revenge of the Sith. It's a Revenge of the Fifth. The Sith, I saw the Revenge of the Sith was showed you how Darth Vader became Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
There you go, man. That's what I got for you today on this Cinco de Mayo. Everybody's out there drinking tequila and eating tacos with Chipotle sauce everywhere. Good things. We got tequila here too as well. Good things. Mazel mazel.
Mazel tov. So please don't confuse Cinco de Mayo with Mexican Independence Day. Yeah, they're two different things.
Big time.
Yeah, Mexican Independence Day is September 16th, and actually was established 50 years before Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah. And it was so Cinco de Mayo is like it's Day of the Dead, really.
Right.
Yeah. The translation.
Well, it was the day the Mexicans stood up to the French.
To the French. Yeah. I think we just use it as a day to drink and have a good time.
Well, that's what it developed into.
It's kind of like St. Patrick's Day.
That was what it developed into over here in the United States.
Yes, we often use holidays to be festive. Memorial Day, Labor Day, No, if you ask,
and did you just do the flubber lips?
What
you said?
Yeah, it's like. Well, not because everybody we always use every holiday to get drunk. What day is this? 4th of July. Let's get drunk.
Let's get drunk. Let's go back. I want to go back. We only got a few minutes.
Okay,
and we'll go to our other stuff next week in our next show. But I want to talk about you because you mentioned him.
Okay.
And tell me if I'm saying his name right or wrong.
Okay.
7th round, with the 249th pick.
Yeah.
Moro Ojomo. Amojo.
Yeah.
Ojomo.
A mojo.
It's not a mojo. It's Ojomo. Ojomo. Right. That's Ojomo. Yeah. Ojomo.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle. He's small though. He's a smaller guy. 6'2", 293. I mean, these guys coming in the league
this year. That's a three technique.
Three technique. Yeah. And he is a beast. I saw some film on him, man. This guy. He showed up big in the East-West Shrine Bowl. He got a lot of upside. Power, bottom power, leg power, holds up when combo blocks really well. He's a good rusher. Yeah, he got every skill. He's got clubs and swings and swipes and bull rushes and rips.
I like his hand. I like his hand usage. The one thing is sometimes a lot of times we don't pay attention to that. That's why the kid who got drafted in the first round, I wasn't real high on him because he's like Velcro to blocks.
Okay.
It's like when I say hand usage, he gets off. The guys I love in the draft is mainly because their hand usage. They get off blocks, and they throw the box like dish rags, like a Spudsy doll. I don't want my Spudsy doll anymore. So it's like I love the way this kid uses his hands, and he's a bit of a technician. I'm surprised he fell this far. But the draft is a fickle heifer,
and that's what was said. He's a good player that's going to add depth again to that defense, man.
Yeah, immediately after they drafted Jalen and the kid in the 7th round, they released somebody that was on the roster. I can't remember who he was, but somebody said it was because he wasn't from Georgia. I was
because he wasn't from Georgia.
It was funny though.
But you know what? I see it this way: all those cats that we have brought in from Georgia, pretty much all of them are on national championship teams. They kick behind at the college level, at a high level. So they'll come to the pros, and those that were in college that they whooped when they were in college, they'll come to the pros and whoop the same guys. Yeah. They just do it at a different level. So it's Howie's done a great job. He's just done a phenomenal job. And I'm I just can't say it enough. I'm just very excited about how this thing's going to turn out next year. This coming year.
For all you guys waiting on the undrafted free agents like myself, we're gonna do that on the next show because it's kind of like the real draft. You have to wait till the day after to hear about the true stars.
The true stars. So that doesn't make me a star. I was the first person. I was the first player taken in the draft in 1984. What's that make me?
He was a superstar.
Oh, does that make me a superstar?
Yeah, man. He was a superstar. I just became I had to force my will on people.
You know what happened in the draft for me in 1984?
What's that?
First of all, I signed my contract before the draft. Okay. Cincinnati,
Mario Williams.
The Cincinnati Bengals had the first pick, and they traded with New England Patriots. So New England Patriots let me know they were going to choose me. So we actually worked out a deal before the draft. The draft was April 10th that year, 1984. And it wasn't all the pomp and circumstances wasn't on TV. I mean, I guess it was on TV, but it wasn't.
It was on TV.
It wasn't all this stuff.
Wasn't all the bells and whistles.
So the day of the draft, my mother and I they sent a limousine for my mother and I, and we rode up to New York. And when the draft started, I went on stage. They announced me and went on stage.
What kind of suit did you have on?
I don't even think I had a suit on. I didn't have a suit. I had some money then because I signed my contract. I had a little bit of money, but I don't think I had a suit. I may have had a suit on. It wasn't like what you see today. I ain't have a whole bunch of jewelry on and all that stuff. I had a regular suit on if I had a suit on. But I shook the commissioner's hand and walked off the stage. They did a short interview with myself and my mother. Then we got back in the limousine and went back home.
That's talking about a one-stop shop.
Yeah, that was the draft for me, man. It wasn't all of that stuff. I did spend some time with my son, who was supposed to get drafted. He was out of Western Michigan, a corner.
Yeah, I saw Landon.
Yeah,
he told you about that.
Yeah,
that's when I knew it was time to jump on the wagon.
He was playing against you in preseason. Hey, Mr. Hollis.
Like, hey, Mr. Thomas. I was like, oh God.
So for those of you who don't know, and I know we just got a minute.
Yeah.
All commercials are done. You guys are good. Okay, thank you, Ralph. Yes. So for those of you who don't know, my son did make it to the pros for a minute, and he was playing in the preseason with the Kansas City Chiefs. and comes to play against Hollis
and Rams,
and the Rams. And so he walks on the field. And now, mind you, the time prior to when Hollis saw him on the field when he was with the Chiefs was he was a ball boy when I was playing with the Eagles and Hollis was playing with the Eagles. So now Hollis sees him on the field. Hello, Mr. Thomas, how you doing? He's like, oh, it's time for me to. And it was the same. It was the same. It was the same for me. Who were Julius Adams? I played with Julius Adams, and Julius Adams' son was on the Eagles. Yeah, he was on the Eagles. So I walk into training camp, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Fryar, last time I saw him, he was a little kid." I'm like, "Oh man, it's time for me to get out of here." Kids are playing with guys. Kids, unbelievable. Listen, y'all, we had a great time. My time is up. We thank you for watching Vetted with Irving Fryar and my man Hollis Thomas. We'll see you next week. We're actually going to be on next week, Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And then the rest of the month will be on Saturday for the rest of May. We'll be on Fridays at 5 o'clock the rest of May. Then in June, we're going to be on our regular time, which is every Thursday at 5 o'clock. All right. So we'll see you next Wednesday at 5 o'clock here, A2D Radio. And then after that, the next 2 Fridays, we'll see you at 5 o'clock here on A2D Radio. And then after that, it'll be on Thursdays. Y'all, we're out. Take care.